here we go. First part of my PK guide requirements. You gotta have a juicy stack of cash, you know, at least 1 mil. I'm gonna put that right there. I got a little bit more than that, but hey, 1 mil is fine, or enough to buy 2 sets of gear. Here's my gear right here. This case, it's about, oh, those gloves don't trade, like 350k. That's okay. That's all I need. And you need stats high enough to hit higher than your opponent's food. Like, say your opponent's using sharks, you gotta be able to hit at least 210 to KO them. I mean, that's common sense. And don't be like, oh, my DDS can hit 2 10s in a row, that means I can kill them. No, I want you to be able to hit 210 with one weapon, alright? Or else you can't PK. Last one, I want you to have, this is for members, I want you to have a free-to-play PK background, and that you've done it, you're good at it, and you know how it works. And because of that, you need the general ability to keep calm, because if you're panicking, you can't PK, because then you just wet yourself, and bam, you're dead, you're in Edgeville. Alright, that's cool. Part 1 requirements. Now that you know you got the requirements settled out, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna pick your primary weapon. Now, what your primary weapon is what you're gonna use to fight most of the battle. In my case, I like to use the whip because it's fast, it's powerful, yada yada yada. It's good. Now, if you're not using the whip, you're probably using the D-skim because you're poor. I don't really like it because, you know, significant drop in what we got right here, our attack bonus. It dropped from 100 to 85, that's no good, and big drop in strength too, 16 right there. So I don't like using that. Now, if you're not using either of these, you're probably using, you know, Karasis, which is pretty much the same as a D-skim. Rapier, which is pretty much the same as a whip on steroids. It's like, Rapier is the exact same thing as a whip, except it can hit about 30 higher, which in my opinion is crazy. You should have one. And if you're not using any of those, you're either using Chaotic Longsword, which you shouldn't be using at all. It sucks. Don't ever get one for PKing. Maybe get it for bandos if you're crazy, but no, don't get it. Then what's left is our God Swords and our Chaotic Mauls. And Chaotic Maul is like a God Sword, same speed, and except it hits a little bit higher and it has a ridiculous attack bonus, which it's gonna hit every single time. And I'll put a link at the bottom with, it's got all the damage that you need to know and what it hits with each one of these. You'll see it there. And there you go, primary weapons. Okay, now you picked out your spec weapon, or no, my bad, crap. You picked out your primary weapon. Now you're gonna pick out your spec weapon, which most of the time should probably just be a dragon dagger with P++, or DDS as it used to be. And you should always have these on hand because they're really the best thing out there. And I categorize them into 2 different things. One of them being disposable, in which you lose them when you die and you can always get a new one. They're cheap, yada yada yada, you know. And then the non-disposable ones, like God Swords, Karasis, Claws, those things, you know, you keep them when you die, I hope. And a lot of people don't use spec weapons sometimes, which is, they're good to have, you know, they're useful. And they're like, oh, I can never buy them in the GE. Well, that's normal, and I'll show you where you can buy them all the time, regardless. Alright, so you're gonna take this thing called a skills necklace. It's pretty much utterly useless unless you're a skiller, I guess. Why it's called that. And so you teleport here, and we start running straight west. And you'll see this guy called Brazzolo. I'm not gonna pause it or anything just for the sake of the guide, so you see exactly how to get here. There's this dark brown path you can follow, and it's nice, and So you'll see this guy called Zolo, and yeah, he's on the other side of this fence thing right here. He's a shady character. And they're 30k a pop. Let's find him. Here he is up here. Just trade them, buy them. I'll buy 5 right now. They're unpoisoned. You can buy a weapon poison. Pretty much always sells on the GE, at least after 5 minutes. And there you go. You should always have a dragon dagger on you. If you don't have a dragon dagger and are too lazy to do this, next choice would be to use a D-long, because it can hit a little bit higher and it's accurate enough to be useful, but really it's not that useful. End of story. Use a dragon dagger as your spec weapon. Alright, now I'm gonna talk about food. What kind of food should I be using? And let me just lay down the information right here. We got our monkfish. They heal 160. We got our sharks. They heal 200. We got our tuna potatoes. They heal 220, and our rocktails, which heal 230. Now you got that. What kind of food should you be using? You should be using what over half of what your people your level normally hit. So say people can hit 300 your level. You should be using at least monkfish. Don't be using swordfish or lobsters. And say once you hit 100 combat, you should always be using sharks. Just once you hit 100 combat, always be using sharks all the time. Just because that's what you gotta do. Alright, that's food basics. Now that's food basics. Here we go with the advanced food. Right here, there are 2 main kinds of food in combos. One of them is using Ceridum and Bruise, and the other one is using any kind of food that can be eaten in more than one slice. First one I'll talk about is it's called the shark brew, and you've seen Mog Time. Be like, shark brew. Here's what it is. You eat the shark and then you eat the brew, and it doesn't take long to eat, as you just saw, and it's very nice. It heals you a lot, like 400, like close to 400 HP in one bite. Downside is it lowers every single one of your stats except for defense. So you're gonna have to bring restores, or in order to get your stats back up. And it's kind of expensive, because restores are not cheap. They're like 10k, 15k a piece. Otherwise, I think it's my preferred method of food comboing. Here's the other kind right here. It's called I don't know what you want to call it. Summer pieing is what most people use. So we have our 2 kinds of slices here mostly used: pineapple pizza and summer pies. It's simple to do, it's really cheap, and you can get a lot out of this combo. Summer pies heal 110 each bite, and so do pineapple pizzas. So all you do is you eat the pie and then you eat the food, and it's just as fast. It's instant, I believe. It is instant. And you heal, 110 plus whatever kind of food you're using, so up to 310. For that, but one downside is it delays combat, and that you won't be able to attack for like 5 seconds, because it's still gonna act like you ate 2 pieces of food, and it delays combat. The other downside is if you eat the summer pie and then you misclick whatever kind of food you're doing, which happens enough times to be annoying, you can end up eating only 110 and then their attack is coming in, so that can be bad. Those are the only 2 downsides. Those are the only 2 food combos you'll probably run into.